You are now entering the Thick Goddess Energy Morning Show. We in the building. High priestess in the building, didn't let my fears kill me. Transmuted my pain in that cleanse in the rain. Found out I was working and I conquered my demons. I accepted my purpose and the goddess I became. Good morning, good morning, good motherfucking morning. Wake up. What is today? Thursday, the 24th. Ooh, end of the month is approaching. Are you guys ready to kickstart April yet? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This is your Thick Goddess Energy Morning Show. I am your host. I don't have my title on here because apparently I don't know who I am today. I'm your host, Ariana, aka Divine Moon Goddess. And this morning show is brought to you by Divine Moon Goddess Healers and Readings.com, where all of your questions get answered. And for only a limited time, the rest of this month, you can book 30% off one-on-one, get some clarity, get a plan with me. Yours truly. Go to the website using code FreshStart222. Next month, I've decided to not give any codes as I've been giving codes for like the last 4 months and shit. So the only, I think, codes and promos I'll be doing is on my live sales for the month of April. All right. Good morning, Lashina. Good morning, Shondell. We're also brought to you by Shanti Rentals, Inc. And you guys, I don't know if you saw on my YouTube channel. It's in the description if you're not on my YouTube channel. I did the Twin Flame update video. So if you're following the Twin Flame, if you're part of the Twin Flame dynamic, then you definitely want to watch it and see what's going on with the Twin Flames, as I always tap into like 3 of the collectives and tell you what spirit wants you to know. You said no stuff for your birthday. Aw. I feel like I forgot to put your order in, Lashina. I was looking at my orders and I was like, I think I forgot to put your last order in. I need to look at it after this live. Good morning, Sasha. Book it before April 1st. So you can use the code up until March 31st. I think we have 31 days this month. So you could book it for April. You don't have to book it for March. You could book it for June if you want to. Shit. You could book it for whenever, but as long as you book it before April 1st to get the 30% off. Okay. So it doesn't need to be in March. You could book it for whenever. You could book it for a future date. What else we have going on? I always feel like I'm forgetting stuff. The April predictions will be up on the YouTube channel next week. Aries is already posted, but you can't view it as they're going to be scheduled to drop next week, of course. Fire signs will drop on Monday. Earth signs will drop on Tuesday. Water signs will drop on Wednesday. And air signs will be last. Air signs will drop on that Thursday or Friday or whatever the fuck day. Anyway, it'll be in order like that. I kind of feel like I'm always like, what am I missing that's going on right now? And I have no idea. I think that's pretty much all of my announcements at this time. Those of you that were interested in investing, I am still conquering the business plan. The business plan we've had to redo and update, and it's not ready yet. So hold on to your money. Business plan will be ready. I don't want anyone to invest before looking at the business plan and seeing that it's something that you want to invest in, and put your time and effort in. So people have been asking me about classes. No, I don't have any live classes right now. I'm just extremely busy and I can't fit it into my schedule with all of the changes, the growth, and building a new platform. Just not getting it. So I don't have any dates. I'm going to try to at least do one class in the fall, but I don't know how that's going to work, you guys. So we'll see, and I will keep you guys posted. Right now, the pre-recordeds are listed under the shop section because that's where they're at. They're pre-recorded since of whatever my last class was. So you definitely can watch it. The price that you see is for all the episodes. It's not like per episode. So like if you got mediumship has 6 classes. The payment is 75 for all 6 classes, I believe. So just like my tarot class, which is a tarot course, um, there's 13 classes. There's 13 episodes. So you would get access to all 13, and I believe it's two something. It's like half off, basically. Um, all of them are kind of half off. So what you see the price is for all of the episodes, not just one by one. So just know that. I think some people got confused on the pricing on the website. You guys know I have extendeds available now on YouTube. Those of you who want to look different or into when something feels like you're reading and you want more clarity, I go in a little bit further on the extendeds through Vimeo. The links are always in the description. Now, with yoga, it is per class. That's the only exception. Yoga is per class. It's like $15 per class or something like that. Um, when we switch over to the new platform, I'm going to have some really cool bundles and deals. And I have to formulate all of that stuff. But for now, yeah, yoga is per class. I don't have that one for all of it together. And I may do it though. I may switch the price and then offer all 8 classes because there's 8 classes to yoga. And I may just switch the price and do that, but I have not done it yet. But you just gave me an idea, Shonda, because I just thought about that. That's the only one that actually is per class. And I might need to change that. Do a bundle deal right now for the meantime. You got to get the last 5 classes. Yeah. I love because the first one is root chakra, which is really it like busts you open if you didn't if you didn't know. And then like your sacral is like, whoo, damn. And then you go into that solar plexus and then that heart chakra, it's crazy. I remember when I first was doing that, I thought the heart chakra was going to be my one that I'll be crying, but actually my heart chakra was good. It was the throat chakra that I was crying in the meditation because as a kid being silenced, it's throat, it's your truth, not being able to express yourself, and so that came up for me, and I was like, what the fuck? So it's not just your average yoga, you guys. It definitely is not. It's definitely like looking more into your energy. And that's what the chakras, that's what the energetic chakras do, opening, balancing. So the poses assist with all of that. I love the chakra yoga. I partnered up with Dominique. She's a certified health fitness professional. and and I love what she put together. So I partnered up with her, and it was pretty awesome. You're getting ready for another 10-hour shift. Make that money, Debbie. Make that money. We saw that money coming in. We saw that money coming in. Don't ask me why I'm yawning, except for it's cloudy outside, so I feel like I want to go into hibernation. Um, you know, I want to go into hibernation mode. So today's morning show, let's go ahead and get into it, right? It's about, when do you tell your family to get out of your business? When do you tell them to stay out of your business? When do you tell them to kick rocks? There's a lot of different scenarios, and so we're going to kind of cover a couple of them. And family is butting into your business is kind of like the top thing that people go through in their life, and the disapproval or the judgment from family is kind of like one of the top things that you will go through in your life when they don't are when they're not open to whatever you're open, and they're not, accepting and whatever it is that you're doing. And that's one of the biggest things I want to talk about today. So regardless to what side of the fence you are, if you're the judgmental family member, because some of us can be, or if you are the one that's constantly criticized from your family, we're going to talk about it today. Uh-huh. You putting in at work, Debbie. Exactly, Sakori. Boom. If that ain't it, I don't know what is. You got to have the courage to stand up. And the chakra box. Did you want to order the chakra box? Send me a message so I remember that. Yes, you have to stand up. You have to stand up. Hey, Siobhan, because one of the things is, yes, I'm not saying not to love your family, but there's some things that your family just needs to sit down, or you need to sit down if you're the family member. So let's think of a couple things, right? Let's say we're what you want to do in life, right? Let's say you're artsy or whatever, or let's say whatever it is that you just, this is what you really want to do. This is what you want to try, and the kickback from your family is like, oh, is that what you really want to do? Oh, they don't make a lot of money, or why would you want to do that? Those kind of comments, like, why would you want to do that? I don't know, because I fucking want to try it, maybe. I don't know, because I want to see some new shit. Maybe I just want to go down a different path from the family. Um, you know, I think people have to remember that it's not your life. Just because you wouldn't do something or you wouldn't try something doesn't mean it's not good for them. And even if they did try it and it did not work, you guys ever notice that people are quick to be like, I told you so. I told you that wasn't going to work. Oh, I knew it wasn't going to work. It's like, damn, bitch, did you not have no fucking faith in me? But so what if it doesn't work? I feel like a lot of people have this, and we've talked about this a lot, where a lot of people have this preconceived notion that everything has to work in success or you're a failure. And it's like, nah, that's the experience of life. There's a lot of shit that's not going to work in this life. There's a lot of shit that's not going to pan out, right? So trying something and not getting the success you want is not failing. That's just experiencing, you're just experiencing something, right? Good morning, Betty. I know, Debbie, as a mom, I get it, and I had to learn the hard way to just sit back and stop trying to get my kiddos to see what I wanted them to see. And we're trying to, what I tell all parents, and if you've had a one-on-one session, you've probably heard this from me at some point, it's you're trying to shield them from the life lessons that they need to go through. And as a mom, as a parent, not just a mom, a dad too, it's hard. It's hard to sit back and just let your kids fall, right? It's hard to just let them fall because you want them to succeed. You want them to be happy. You want them to, but as parents, we can become overly controlling, overly protective. They have their own fucking lessons in this life. They have their own karma in this life. Just because you gave birth to them doesn't make them free of fucking karma. And that's one of the things that we're not taught as individuals or in our lives. So it's very hard to take on this moment of understanding that, oh, they have their own karma. Oh, this is their lessons, right? And I'm a protective mama bear too, but I had to learn, like, you gotta sit down, and you don't have to deal with the shit that your family does, right? If they want to live a fucked up toxic life, let them go. As hard as that is, let them go, right? But it's not up to us. Yeah, I'm like, try it, see what happens, see what happens and where it takes you. So, okay, it didn't work out. Especially when we're young, a lot of shit ain't gonna work out when we're young. A lot of shit is like not gonna happen, right? Right. They're like, oh, pregnant again. And it's like, are you raising this bitch? Are you raising my kid? Are you gonna pay for it? So why the fuck do you matter if I'm pregnant or not? Like that's the kind of conversation. It's like it really and I I get it because there was times where, my kiddos, having kids and it's like, are you ready? Are you happy? Like what's going on? But again, that's my perception of what their life is going to be. Shit, whether they're ready or not, here it's here. Ta-da, boom. You know what I mean? Whether you're ready or not, it's not up for me to say. So, a lot of times it's reeling back in of your perception of what their life is supposed to be. Yes, we all want our family to be happy. Yes, we want our family to thrive. Who the fuck is sitting over here like, I want this bitch to suffer? Because if you are, that's not, maybe you need to disconnect, right? So it's understanding that, yes, but it's not your life to dictate. It's not your life to judge. If someone wants to have 20 fucking kids, what does it matter to you? Now, I know there are some people that have kids and then always are calling for money. I get it. They always need some shit. And it's like, why don't you stop having them? And then you don't have to call me for money. But you don't have to loan them money. Okay. So if you're a softie and then you fall for it and then you still give money, then that ain't got shit to do with the person that had the 20 kids. That has everything to do with you and your inability to say no. Your inability to say, hell no, I ain't got your rent money. Hell no, I ain't paying your bills. Crazy thing is when the kiddos got old enough, I was like, I'm not supporting two households. I hope y'all know that. So y'all better get it together. I'm not supporting your household and mine. I'm paying my bills and my bills only. So call me if you truly need an emergency. Other than that, figure it the fuck out. And that's not being cold. That's just like, get it together. You're an adult now. I think you got to live and you got to learn. Exactly. Good morning, Miss Woods. The thing about it is, even when we're looking at a situation, not all the time are our family members true or telling us the truth of what's going on in their relationship. Somebody can complain all fucking day about their spouse. Oh, he's fucking lazy, and oh, she's lazy, and she don't do this, and he don't do that, and oh my God. And the family will be like, ugh, why are you with that person? All the while this person is laid up with this person. I love you. We're going to make it work and we're going to figure it out. And it's like, how do you expect us to like this person? And every time you talk about this person, you're talking shit about this person. Very hard for the family to like the person you're with when all you got is shitty things to say about this person. What I've come to realize is that you got to let it go. You got to get out of people's relationships. I don't care if you're the fucking mother, father, whoever you are. You got to get out of your relationship, their relationships. And then hopefully they understand that because you're not going to understand it. You're going to sit and be like, you're always complaining about this person. Why the fuck are you there? Why don't you just leave? All of all, this person is not, it's not that bad. Because if it was that bad, you wouldn't fucking still be there. At some point, you just got to be like, look, I don't want to hear it anymore. I don't want to hear you complain about this person that you're choosing to lay up with every motherfucking day and live your life and have more kids with, or have a kid with. Like, enough is enough. We have to stop the bullshit on our side, right? From the shit coming in. You're not going to change someone, and jumping in on the train of drama just makes shit worse. And a lot of times family members aren't honest of what's going on. They're not. I've seen it. I've seen it in my own fam. I've seen it in other people's situations where they're not as honest. Everything is complain, complain, complain. You ever have friends that are always asking you about your life and your relationship? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but to what extent do you tell your friend, like, it's none of your business what's going on with me and my person? Like, maybe it's none of your business what we got going on. When do you tell someone, like, maybe it's not any of your business what I got going on? You know? Yeah, Lashina, I don't have too many people who tell me much either. And it's not that I mean, it's just I tell you guys this all the time. I'm not the one to call if you want to bitch and complain about the same shit. I'm not the one to call. I can't do it. So people don't call me. It's okay. I still love them. I still love them. I know I'm the last person who knows anything. Nobody's fucking calling me for shit. because I'm just not that person. You just can't call me all the time saying the same shit you said a year ago. I just don't want to hear it. I'll be like, crickets. Okay? Crickets. Right, right. Right. I could see if someone's coming to you for advice, but most of the time people don't want advice. You guys know that, right? Most of the time people don't want advice. Most of the time they don't want to hear what the fuck you got to say. They just want you to listen to the shit, right? And as much as I love my family, I'm not their therapist. I used to be. I used to be the therapist that was there for everyone. So everyone had someone to talk to, and everyone would tell me their problems over and over again. And yeah, I just decided no. I think if you need a therapist, you need to go find a professional. Even an unlicensed therapist like myself can help you. I think you need to find someone who's not related to you if you need to talk about your shit, right? Because I can't do it. And I'm not calling people every day to complain about the same shit. And I had to see that behavior in myself too. This is something that I had to see when myself, like, why am I talking about the same shit over and over and over again, making myself angry, mad, and upset, you know? So when do you tell your people like, hey, enough is enough, I need you out? Because there's some moms that are like in in the mix. It's like, mom, go sit the fuck down. I remember my mom was rude as hell. My brother is a mama's boy. He's a mama's boy. Okay. My mom, oh, that's her golden child. I always say it, that's her golden child. And my mom was rude as shit to his girlfriends. She would like say some mean shit, like basically like you're just another piece of ass. And I would be like, damn, mom, you're like fucking cold as shit. Like no one was good enough for my brother. And my brother wasn't the best guy when he was younger, right? He wasn't the best man when he was younger. And my mom was like rude as fuck. And I'd be like, damn, mom, like, is it that serious? Are you that got your son that high on the totem pole that you want to be mean to everybody? But some moms are overbearing and some moms just they don't like nobody who comes around. Everybody is like, you could do better. You could do better. And it's like, then you look at the parent and you're like, but did you do better? Did you do better? Because I kind of feel like my parents, y'all didn't tell yourself that. You've been transitioning out. Yeah, that person. Yeah, I used to, but I just can't. I used to be the dump. Everyone could dump their problems on me. And then the thing about it is because I care so much that I make it my problem, right? And so I had to take a step back and stop making everybody else's problems my problems. And that's just something because my heart is big. I want to help. I want to make everybody's life better. I want everyone to be happy. I want them to succeed. And then what it was doing is breaking me down. One, because people are now fucking honest about their situation. And in the moment of being pissed off and mad, they want to dump and this, that, and the third. And then you want to help. And then all of a sudden it's a different story. And so um I feel like the biggest things I took away from that is just to push myself back because I can't be that person. You can't call me and complain and cry and this, that, and the third. I'm gonna want to go fuck somebody up. So I had to learn that to let shit go. Like I didn't understand. Like I've been through, I've been had my relationship where yeah, I had the back and forth. I was a kid though. As an adult, I'm like, ain't no way. I'm not running after you. I'm not crying. I'm not about to go and fight over nobody. Like I'm too fucking old for all that shit. I'm not about to go through anything I went through as a young adult or a kid in a relationship. Just not going to do it as in my adult age. So there's a lot of things that I look at people and it's hard not to judge a situation. You're always going to judge. You're always going to judge because you don't understand it. And you're gonna, and it's hard not to. It's like you want to be that person, but it's like I wouldn't go through this shit. So how the fuck can I be? How can I be a ear to listen to when I'm like, fuck that? I can't be biased in this shit. So I had to tell myself, like, no, you can't be a good friend or a family member because you're gonna automatically want to save someone. You're gonna be like, fuck that shit, leave, you know, and that's not the way to do things. You mind your business, right? I think it's true. I'm like, if you're really good on, if you're really like you want to go, then let me know. I remember my eldest was going through some things, and I just said, I'm here for you. You know what? No one can tell you, and this is when I got to the point of understanding, right? It was like, no one can tell you what to do with your life, or no one can tell you if this is your person or not. You got to discover that. And if you want to leave, you know that you got a roof to come to. You know that you don't need to be on the street. You don't need to be homeless. You know, you don't need to worry. But if you decide to stay and work things out, then you decide to stay and work things out, you know? Lashina's like, I don't dump on you. Exactly. You know, that's how I looked at my mom. Like, mom, you looking at me like I could do better, but did you, lady? Debbie, you're an overbearing mom. Yeah. You know, the thing about it is you can't. It's not your relationship. You know, it's not your relationship. I've looked at, you know, even I have nieces and nephews, and you know, sometimes I've sat back like, what, why are you guys in these relationships with some of these people? um and you just got to let it go. That's their lives to live. That's their lessons to learn regardless, you know. And if they decide to make families with these people, all you could do is either accept it or not. And if you don't accept it, then you don't accept it. Um I think we just gotta like step back though. um Step back and not try to force or push anyone out of their decisions, right? And like going to school, like someone who wants to go to school and the family's like, no, you got to go to work. I think you just gotta, there's a point of, this is my life. Because even though we're kind of judgmental, right? And we're very judgmental in a situation. It's hard to understand what you don't understand. It's hard to understand something you haven't been through. It's hard to understand when you have been through it and you're like, I don't understand why you're still staying. Man. So sometimes you got to take that step back and just, you know, let it go. But you as a person, if you have family and friends that are all in your business, like I would see, and I was this woman at one time where someone would be talking shit about like their husband or whatever, and just like it's so horrible, and I'm like, fucking leave. If it's so horrible, why the fuck are you still there? Like, I didn't understand that as a single person. I'm like, the fuck you doing? Your life is too short. You should leave. I was horrible advice. Horrible fucking advice. If you've ever done a one-on-one, I don't give advice like that anymore. One, because there's layers to every relationship. And two, nobody is sitting in your seat with the love and heart space that you do for your person. And so no one can really tell you to leave or go. You can look at the information, you can look at your energy and see, all right, what do we have going on? Is this a fantasy or is this reality? And then make your decisions. But as the friend, I used to be a horrible friend. Oh, he didn't call you back today? Psh, delete, blocked. That's not the best energy. Oh, Amber, take care of yourself, boo. Take care of yourself. And you know what? The thing is, no one's going to learn from your mistakes as a parent. No matter how many times you tell your kids, oh, I went through that. I did this. You didn't learn from that? No, no, they didn't. They have their own shit. You got to remember how karma works. Karma pulls you to people. Contracts, soul contracts pull you to people. I don't give a fuck what somebody else went through. If you got a soul contract with someone, you're going to keep going back to that contract until it's done, until you see what you need to see, right? So it doesn't matter how many people guide you or tell you what you should do. You're going to keep going back to that particular situation because there's something that you need to see. There's something that you need to work through in that energy. Right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Tatiana, that shit had me. That's what made me realize. That's what had me realize. I have girls too, and the baby, which she's gonna be 25. The baby. It's crazy to say the baby's about to be 25, but her especially um, made me realize because I was gonna lose my life and go to jail forever, and she was still gonna go back to him. So I had to like it was like one of the hardest decisions in my life to let her go to a shelter because I just could not watch her go back and accept that man back, after him choking the shit out of her in front of my babies. And it's something, this is something we openly talk about. So it's not nothing that's not out there, and that was one of the hardest things because man, if I'd have caught him, I'd have did some damage. And I remember that was one of my lessons of you have got to let go because you're about to lose your whole life and she's still going to go back. And that's everything. Like everyone who you guys know, if you've been in it or you've had someone in a abusive relationship, they go back a couple times. Very few people leave the first time it happens, right? And as family, it's hard. It's hard to sit back and watch it, especially if you don't understand it. I don't understand it. I've never been in an abusive relationship. It's very hard for me to wrap my mind around anybody staying in an abusive relationship. Now, cussing each other out, that's different. I've been there and done that. Talking shit to each other, I've been there and done that. That's the type of abuse. But physically abusive, that I've just never understood that. No. So it's hard for me to understand when I have someone, especially before. Now it's a little bit different because I'm a different person. I can have conversations differently. But before it was very hard for me to understand staying with someone who's abusive or controlling or aggressive in that way. I just never could get it. I'd always be like, leave, fuck that, leave. And when someone would go back, it's like, what are you doing? Why are you going back? But I didn't understand soul contracts either. You know what I mean? None of us understand soul contracts. We can't understand why someone would go back to someone who's harming them. That's a part of the soul contract. The person in it that's being abused has to understand that they are more than what they are accepting in that moment. And they have to stand up for themselves and get the courage to leave. But until they realize that, that's why they keep going back into those situations. So it's not something that we look at and we're like, oh, I understand. Especially if you've never been in it, you can't fucking understand it, right? Good morning, Renee. Good morning, Kathy. Well, happy birthday. The thing is, you can't. Like I said, um, I was blown away when my daughter, her baby daddy was more than abusive and aggressive, and I was very surprised that she was okay, not okay with it, but that she was allowing it, and I was like, what the fuck? I've never been that woman, right? And so this is where you have to understand that some things of your children have nothing to do with you. Some of it is nothing to do with you. Some of it has nothing to do with your parenting or what you've shown them or how you've shown up as a woman. Because I've been a very single and strong woman throughout my kid's life. Definitely wasn't taking no shit from no man. Um, I didn't even show them a relationship. All the kiddos will say like they don't ever remember anyone, me being with anybody, because I just didn't play that. I was not that person. So it's crazy that my mom, who was in an abusive relationship, right, and then it skipped a generation, and then here goes my daughter, and she's not the only one of the kiddos that have been through it. And it's something that still I don't understand, not to an extent. I try to have that empathy or I try to have an understanding, but I understand soul contracts a little bit more and karma. And when we think of karma, it's not that you deserve to be abused, because that's not it. It's the understanding of your worth It's the understanding of the infatuation with the person, that you would be with someone that would abuse you in that way and call it love, you know? So there's all of these factors on it. And I don't doubt that some people love their people, but I don't think it's true love. I don't think it's that true heart space love. Unconditional love is different when we talk about unconditional love. And people get very confused on unconditional love, and they think that means dealing with someone beating the shit out of them, dragging them through the mud, stealing their shit, crashing their shit, fucking shit up. That's not unconditional love. That is part of the soul contract and the toxicity of what you need to work through. Unconditional love is when you love someone for no reason at all. They didn't do anything for you, they didn't do anything towards you. You just have this natural love for this person. So, and the only thing I can kind of say as a parent, unconditional love because the second you have your kids, well, most parents, I won't say all parents, but most parents, as soon as you have your child, you feel this unconditional love for this person, and they haven't did shit. They didn't do shit to deserve it, right? You just have this unconditional love. That is what it is. Unconditional love is not going through torture, and a lot of people tend to try to believe that torture or going through the abuse is because they love the person, and it's not love that keeps you in there. It's your contract to see what you need to see. A lot of people, especially in abusive relationships, we know go through abandonment issues and not wanting to be alone, so they're willing to accept somebody's behavior because they're afraid to be alone. So a lot of levels when it comes to abuse and things like that. But when do you stay out of it? As scared as that is, as scary as that is to watch your family member going through there, not much that you can fucking do in there except say, if you need me, I'm here. And it's sad about how many women or men, because it's not just women, that die in these situations. But you really can't do anything. You really can't get involved in people's shit. It's not really going to work, and you become the bad guy. I had one, um I won't say who's who, but just someone very dear to me, where we got distant because of her relationship. And it's just something that I just couldn't be involved in, and I can't watch. So it's hard to be a friend in or whatever to someone who's in that situation, and you just can't. It's hard. I feel like I'm doing a disservice for myself. Like, I know that they know I'm here should they ever need me, but to be implanted in your life and talk to you every day, knowing that you're suffering, it's something. Because again, I always want to take on everybody's shit. Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's definitely true, Renee. Um, I think we can say what we're gonna do until we're in the situation. I just know that I grew up watching my mom and dad fight, not just argue, fist fight. Okay. And so, me growing up, I just was like, I don't want that. I don't want to ever be with someone who hurts. And it's crazy because even though my mom and dad fought, my dad hit my mom, he never hit me. And so it just made me realize, like, I don't ever want someone who's aggressive like that. And when I would date someone and they would have this aggressive tone to them in the beginning, I would shut that shit down really quickly because I just wasn't about that life. I just was like, no, I'm not doing that. Um, I just something in me was just like, yeah, no. And I would date guys that would stop talking to me because you could see really quickly that I'm just not that. I have a masculine sense to me where I'm not just gonna sit and not talk my shit or say something or stick up for myself. I've always been that person. I just can't, not for love, not for nothing else. And I've dated quite a few people, and I didn't care what you had in your pants. I didn't care what you had in your pocket. I didn't care what you were doing. I was never gonna lay up with someone and be disrespected. And it's just something that came over me as, watching my mom and dad. I just couldn't, you know, I just could not. I will lay alone before I let someone lay up with me that's treating me like shit. And I just got that embedded in myself. Like, nope, not again. Yeah, drugs will change someone. Drugs will bring a whole different person out of them, you know. My dad was on drugs, you know, so I'm sure that was part of the reasons, you know, that he was abusive and crazy at times with my mom. But my mom was also an instigator, and it's something that my mom hasn't truly admitted or accepted about herself. But my mom was someone who was an instigator as well. She had a hate for men, and my dad had a hate for women. So you know, them two linking up was like mirror. That was a mirror effect, if any. Um, right, right, right. We think, especially when people are showing us, we think that love is being there for someone no matter what, and that's not love. Well, it's love, but it's like you gotta love yourself just as much as you love these fucking people that you're willing to destroy your life for, basically. You got to put yourself first. We're always putting everybody else and we're ready to fucking destroy our lives for other people. But it's like, do we love ourselves in that same capacity? And we don't if we're ready to destroy our life for someone else. It's I know it's sometimes it's a catch-22 and it's hard, but you got to have that same love for your own shit, right? Right. I'm actually a Venus in Capricorn, so when it comes to relationships, that's I'm very assertive in a lead where I'm like, yeah, you're not going to talk to me crazy. You're not going to talk to. I remember I was dating this guy, and he would be on the road, and we only talked for a very short time because it was just like, yeah, this is not going to happen. And I remember him leaving his car with me, and I just remember he would like try to say something about leaving the car, and I would just be like, come get this fucking car. If you think my ass won't jump on this fucking bus right now, I just never had it in me to be like, you're not going to hold nothing over my head and say what you did for me. Not going to happen. Right. You could, but you know what? You could drill all day in what you went through, and they'll still find their path. You know, you could tell your kids all day long, I went through this, I went through that. And when my daughter got to her teens, I had to realize that no matter what I said, she was gonna go through what she was gonna go through. Like she wasn't gonna learn from my mistakes. She wasn't gonna learn from my experiences. She wasn't gonna learn from my hardship. You know, even though she was raised with a teen mom, you know, she became a teen mom. In the moment with her baby daddy, she thought she found love and she was going to have this family that I never gave her. And I never gave her a family. You know, I never gave her any more brothers or sisters. I never brought a man home. So she didn't have the stepfather. I didn't give her that. I didn't give her that home. She was in a single parent home with no father, with no stepfather. And so when she got to her teens, she had this idea that, you know, here goes this man that she's fallen in love with, and they're going to live happily ever after with their family. And that there was a rude awakening really quickly with that. But what can you do? You know, you hope that they're going to learn from you, but they're not. They have their own story. They have their own path. They have their own choices. And no matter what you say, um, they're still going to choose, right? Right. Yeah, some kids are more hard-headed too, but I don't think it's about being hard-headed. I really think it's about our soul contracts. I think it really boils down to our soul contracts. Oh, poor Debbie. Exactly. Um, drugs can affect drugs can be a very big indicator and bring things to toxicity. And it's hard because you do have to choose your family. You do have to choose yourself over trying to deal with someone. You know, that's the tough love. The tough love is no, I will not deal with your habit. No, you're not welcome here until you get clean. And that can be the hardest thing because you want to be there. Um, right. Oh, hell yeah. I'm always like, Don't say you did shit for me, because I'm one of those people that I don't call anyone unless I really need help. I've always been this way. So if I ever call you, you know, oh, she really needs help, because she never fucking calls me. I've just always been that person where I'll make a way, I'll find a way. So if I ever do call someone, they know, like, damn, she really does need this help. I've just never wanted people to be like, because of me, you know, and not to say people can't help you on your journey. But I think I've dealt with a lot of, you know, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have this. And it's like, yeah, no, not doing that. Right. I think we all do. I think even when I was younger, I thought I knew, I thought I had everything under control, thought I knew I was doing the best for my life. But I think that's just a part of growth, you know. My nose is itching like crazy, you know. Right, right. It's like, I'm here if you need me, right? But you just gotta let go. So that's the thing. Whether you, whatever side you're on to this equation, whether you're the one having a hard time accepting somebody else's path or what they're doing, or you're the one who's getting people all in your business, at some point you got to take that step back and make some decisions. It's okay to give advice if somebody asks, but don't give advice when they're not asking you for your advice. Like, if they're not asking you what you think, right? And you guys know the people who ask you what you think but don't want your fucking advice anyway, why waste the time? Why even go there? I feel like it's like, after you know some of the people that it's just like, I know you're not asking for my opinion. You want someone to talk to. Now, if you're that person who is okay with just listening to a bunch of shit, then, you know, be a guidance counselor. You could get paid for that shit. Um, but if you're not, time to start shutting it down and going, you know what? I can't be a good friend. I can't be a good friend and listen to this, you know, because I want to say this. And it's hard. I think it's very hard to just sit back and hear a lot of shit that people go through. And like I say, a lot of people lie. They blame the person. It's all the other person's fault. The other person's lazy as fuck. And then, you know, if you ever you find out that you're lazy and your ass ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing, but you're complaining about this other person. I think parents are probably the worst at this, of the obsession to mold and shape your kids. I want to say parents are probably the worst, but I do know there's a lot of friends that are too involved in their friend's life. You have people that always want to tell you what your husband or wife should be doing. They should be doing this. And then people get this in their head. Just like most of my conversations and a lot of my love readings are, well, we've been together, you know, such as years, and we're not married yet. And it comes from people being in their ear, the parents, the friends. Why aren't you guys married yet? Why aren't you married yet? Why hasn't this person put a ring on your finger? And so there's this stipulation that starts to, you say it enough, you start to put doubts in this person's mind. So I would say, don't tell people that shit. If it doesn't matter how long they've been dating their person, don't be the person who's like, oh, are y'all married yet? Where's your ring? Um, oh, this person ain't put a ring on your finger yet. You know, like, don't be that person. It starts to bring up a lot of doubt and fears into your family. You think you're doing good, but you're actually creating fights and arguments that don't need to be there. So just remember that, you know, if you're the person, or maybe you're the person that people are doing, let them know, like, you're actually creating fear inside me that I didn't even realize. I think as a parent, it's kind of hard not to give advice, but I've learned to not say anything as a parent. I just listen, you know, when they do want to tell me something, and if they ask me for advice, I'll give it. If not, I don't. But people don't call me for that reason, because it's not going to be what you want to hear. It's going to be, you know, from an objective standpoint. I'm very good at being objective in a situation. But then, with family, it's still kind of hard. It's just like, the thing is, no matter, you could love your kids all day long, but Sakori, they got their contracts. So you just hope that they got a good karmic contract. They're, just hope their soul contracts are pleasant and easy and that they ain't got to come back and do no crazy shit, right? Right, right. Good morning, Mina. Yeah, I just sit back. I sit back and I just say I love you and I just check in and I just say, how are you? And they'll say, I'm good. And I leave it like that. I know I'm good means I'm stressed the fuck out. And I just leave it like that because apparently you don't want me to know. If you wanted me to know, you would say something. And I just leave it like that. I don't get into their business. I'm not in their relationships because it's always going to be something. Of course, especially when you're young, it's always going to be something. It's always going to be not on the same page and going through it, especially when you throw kids into the situation, right? Yeah, I'm not a good sugarcoater. I can't coddle. Not that I'm not a nurturer, because I'm a nurturer, but don't ask me to coddle. You guys have seen me read way too many times. I can't coddle anybody. I can't give you the coddling baby. I'm like, you're grown. Get it, get it the fuck together. You're grown. You're an adult. Just hope that their contracts are nice and hope that they're not, that they ain't got these crazy fucking soul contracts, because that's the hard part. That's the hard part, you know. I'm not saying not to give them advice, but I just, seeing a lot of stuff, I just feel like you could talk to your faces blue, and whatever the energy is, they're gonna pick and choose what they pick and choose. And not to say stop giving them um giving them advice, just know when to not everything needs your opinion. Even as a parent, not everything needs your advice on the situation. Not everything needs you to say how you feel about their situation. Sometimes even as a parent, you just need to listen. Okay. Even though to the pit of your stomach, you fucking know what you need to say, right? Sometimes you just don't need to say shit. You gotta get to the point to kind of understand that. They're gonna pick and choose what they pick and choose. Now, again, if they're coming to you for advice, that's different. They're asking you. But if they're not asking you and you're just giving it, that's where the overboard comes into it. That's where you have to, again, this is not my life. It's not my situation. Um, and yeah, they're still gonna listen to Ray Ray on the corner. Soul contracts are the people that come into our lives. We have soul contracts with everyone that we kind of meet that comes into our life, right? On some level, that's a soul contract. You contracted to meet people in this lifetime. You guys grouped together to come back, and whether you came to fix karma from another life, whether you came to experience new karma and lessons with each other, you decided to sign these contracts and say, we're going to meet and we're going to have this experience. Now, I'm sure I don't have all the details, right? Because that's above my pay grade. But I'm sure in the contract it didn't say, I'm going to come to Earth and my person's going to be a drug addict and we're going to go through some crazy ass motherfucking shit, right? But when we get here, we have these lovely things called the identity, our ego. And then we have these lovely parents and siblings that kind of shape us. And so, unfortunately, there's a lot of shit that happens to us that we didn't ask for, wasn't a part of the contract, but it's a part of the experience. And then that causes people to do some stupid shit. In that contract, there's decisions that we have to make, whether it's toxic, whether it's loving, whatever, right? And so you have to make some choices. Normally, the choices are to get out of these contracts and understand the lesson. The lesson is not for you to be in a shitty place with a person and deal with their shit. It's to understand when to let go. A lot of times we're in situations that are toxic because we don't know how to let go. We would rather sit, go through it, and be in it, hoping and praying one day it changes, because we're scared to let go of a person. We're scared to let go of the situation. So a lot of times we have all these lessons and they play out in some very horrible ways. And I don't ever think that we sign up to come and be abused by any. I just can't wrap my head around it, even though there are some stories of, if you've ever come across Dr. I think it's Dr. Wise. He's like one of the ones who came across past life energy, and he was I want to say he was a therapist or a psychologist. And this is back, in the day. This is not newer shit. This is like years ago. And he, in his book, he talks about a client. I'm still can't wrap my head around this shit, but in the past life regression, there's a lot of shit that comes up, right? He wasn't even doing past life regression at the time. He was just doing simple therapy with his client. And she kept having these fears and all of this stuff come up, and she couldn't explain why. And he kept, putting her in hypnosis to go back and see. In one of the sessions, she actually went back to being molested, right? Molested by her father, which she didn't even remember that happened. And then when they kept going back, it seemed like she would go further. And so whenever she couldn't get past a certain situation, he was like, okay, let's see, where did this start? Where did this start between you and your father? Like, why is your dad just, why did he just start being abusive to you, right? And so instead of it going back to her and her father in this life, it went back to like Roman times. And she recalled a situation where her dad was a man and they mobbed him. The mob killed him, and she was a part of that mob. And so this life, this he was her father, and so he had this aggression towards her and could never explain it. Again, this is something I'm still trying to wrap my head around, because I still look at kids as innocence. I still look at kids as, they're children. But there's a lot that goes on in the background that we don't realize. There's a lot of these stories. If you look up Dolores Cannon, she's one of the first ones who got into quantum healing and going through space and time to see what happened to us, what is going on with us. Now, some people don't believe it. Some people call it pseudoscience. Some people think it's just our imagination. I've done a past life regression, very fucking real, and it explained a lot of hidden fears and stuff that was going on within me. So it's crazy that you don't know what your soul contract is with someone. You don't know why you came back with this person in this life. You don't know why. Sometimes, and I'm not going to say every time somebody is abused, it's because of your karma, because I don't believe that. But there's a lot of times where you get very hurt in this life because you were either shitty in another life or you did some fucked up shit. If people understood that you're not going to get away with the shitty things that you do, they might be better people. But because people just think, oh, we just live our lives and do anything, we do whatever the fuck we want and we can repent. I think to an extent we can be forgiven, but I don't ever think that we can not have to pay our karma back. Um, I don't think that people just die, you go to heaven and you repent, or you repent before you die, you go to heaven and you're good. I don't think it happens. And if you get into a lot of spirituality, everyone, when you get to a certain level, people start talking about councils, these councils of spirit and energy. And I don't think you just get to go up and chill. I think you have to come back, and this is my belief anyway. I do believe you got to come back and you got to serve. And I think that if we can just remember that, how do we want to show up, and can we stay in these loving places and forgive and let go so we don't have to repeat this shit, that maybe the next life will be nicer, or maybe the rest of this life will be nicer. But yeah, contracts are pretty crazy. And the thing is, if you knew, right? And people ask, well, why don't we know? Why don't we have this understanding coming? Why don't we know what our contract is? And the best way for me to understand it or say or describe it to you guys is, if you knew, you would be doing everything you can to make it better. If you knew you killed someone in a past life, right? You harmed somebody in a past life. In this life, you would be doing everything like motherfucking Teresa, right? To pay it back. But if you come here with no recollection of your past, you're given another chance, right? What are you going to choose? And then you're given these situations to make choices similar or some way, right? What do you do with that? And so this is a part of the soul contracts. Ooh, spirit is in my ear right now. Spirit is in my ear. This is a part of it. You're given a chance to come back with no recollection. So what are you going to choose in this life? Are you going to choose to be a shitty person because something happens to you? And most of the time, some shit happens to you, right? So again, not to say that everyone is deserving and everyone's karmic contract comes with being abused or being hurt, but I will tell you that it's been documented. It's been documented by a couple doctors that do past life. And some doctor, like Dr. Wise, if you look at his books, um, I'm gonna drop a link because I read his book back in 2020, um, and that's when I was getting into um, that's when I was getting into past life and many lives, many masters is the book that I read. He actually has a couple books, and I will share the link with you guys. It's on Amazon. I'm actually the next thing I will be learning how to do is past life regression. That's something I want to add to my practice. And it's basically, it's basically to look at what's some shit that's happened and you don't know. The thing is, people are like, well, why don't we remember? If you remembered, you'd be a goody two shoes. You would never do nothing. But we come into this life with no recollection so that we can make the better choices, so we can become better people. Some people don't. You have people also, and this plays out in so many different ways. It's not every molester was killed in another life, right? Some people come back in this life to repeat the same shit, right? So let's say someone was a molester in a last life, they could come back and have those urges in this life. And then they're tempted to see, what are they going to do? Are they going to play out this shit, or are they going to choose to be a better person? And sometimes they fail. So again, this is things that there's many different layers. Nobody's situation is the same. Not everyone who gets raped, it's the same background. Not everyone who gets hurt is the same background. Not everyone that dies is paying karma. Like, just because you got shot in this life doesn't mean you're paying karma from a past life. Everyone's contract is unique, and everyone's life is unique. And so until you go within and see what's playing out for you, what is hurting you, because you don't need to know your past life if nothing's affecting you. But if you've gone through stuff that you see that are you're self-sabotaging, or you're going through similar things over and over, you're dating the same person over and over, or you're staying in abusive relationships, or you have like crazy energy with your family that you're like, why the fuck are me and my mom, we don't get along, we hate each other, stuff like that. Those are things that you want to look into your past life and see, why is this still affecting me? Why can't I get past this? If you can't get over a death in the family, those are things that are connected to past life, because you can't understand why you can't move past it, why you can't heal from it, why you can't forgive. And most likely there's some deeper shit there that you don't realize. Yeah, I'm excited too. I definitely will let you guys know, but I've made a decision that quantum healing is the next thing I want to get certified in. And so, that's being able to do the past life regression and take you guys on a journey. So I'm definitely going to be putting that in this year as I'm making some moves. I just feel like it's profound. And I think, especially with the deep traumas, when we get so stuck and not being able to get past the fears, right? So I have this huge fear and love. I did, lose my daughter in this life, which is one of the things. But I also have a past life where I was traumatically killed in front of the love of my life and our child. And so the fear that I felt when I first met him in this life was, I couldn't explain it. It didn't make sense to me why I was so afraid of letting him get closer to me. And even though I liked him a lot, I had this uncontrollable fear to where I would have panic attacks when it came to his energy. And I couldn't understand it. And that's what made me get the past life regression, is because I was having these panic attacks. I was going through these I was like, what the fuck is, what the fuck is this? Am I batshit fucking crazy? And I did think I was fucking insane for a while. Okay. So I do think if you need it, get it. If you're not having no crazy problems, then maybe you don't need to do it, you know? Yeah. Me and my daughter's father came up in that also. We basically almost played out the same life in this life, just a little bit different. And there were some things that I understood. You know, there were some things that I understood. Like there were some things, even sexually, that I just could not do with him. I would get very disgusted, or I would just feel very like, oh, I can't do this. It's just like, no. And it's crazy because after him, some of those things are I'm fine with. And so it was crazy to see this past life and realize that I was forced to marry him in a past life. So everything I did with him was forced and um, just just because I had to. I was actually in love with someone else in that life. And I didn't get to be with them because I was in like this tribe. So it's crazy that, you know, you never know how you're playing out these past life things. And you're like, oh shit, that makes a lot of fucking sense, because I couldn't understand why I couldn't be that woman for him um in our intimacy, right? Why was that a problem for me? Why did I struggle there? You know, and I'm a very sexual person, right? I've understood that. I've come to understand that as a woman, just kind of doing my thing, but I couldn't understand why I couldn't be there. So there was a lot of like, I'm not enough. Why can't I be this woman? Or why can't I, you know, do what I'm supposed to do? And I'll be very honest. There were some things that I just, I couldn't do. Not with him. I just couldn't do it. I would literally get sick. And I couldn't explain it. And I didn't know how to tell him that. I didn't know how to tell him how I was feeling. You know, I didn't know how to say it. So you never know. You never know how it's playing out. You never know how things are working for you until you do it, get in there and kind of see like, damn, what is this shit? And why is this? What is this shit and why is it? So it makes a lot of sense though once you start digging in that past. And even in your childhood, for those of you who don't remember a bunch of pieces of your childhood, the past life regression, you know, it's not just for past life. You also could use it to hit that childhood to see, you know, what are some things maybe in your childhood if you're doing repeated patterns, if you're doing self-sabotage, you know, if you have a lot of fears to everything you're afraid of, you might want to look into it. All right, so that's the topic I have for you guys today.